Hello, I have a secret and a surprise to tell you. And I'm going to start with the surprise, and that's here. So this quite adorable little doeling was born yesterday on the farm. I was out all day and I came back and I found a cold, still, lifeless kid on the floor, and it was you. She is early. She's very early. Her mum has no udder, no milk, no nothing. Obviously it was Saturday evening, so everything was shut, so I stuck her under a heat lamp and she started to wriggle. I then went to my friend's that's about an hour away and picked up some frozen colostrum, and now she is doing super duper. The dog barking is Jock. He cannot cope with the fact there is a tiny new life. So this little one has been in the caravan with me all night because I did try and put her with my mum, cleaned her off, but now doesn't know what she is, has no udder, so there's no real potential to bond them because there's no milk, so I can't get her to suckle, which then, normally if I added her to suckling, that would help release oxytocin to let down more milk and endorphins, and then they'd bond that way. There's none of that. So this is going to end up being a bottle baby. She's called Astrid. She's very cute. She can't be much more than 2 weeks early because their lungs haven't developed by then. So the fact that she's alive means she must have almost been 2 weeks to term, but I didn't even think this goat was pregnant. And also, for the long-term viewers of you, you'll be going, Jeff, you downsized. You didn't have any female goats. Well, that's the secret. I do. I, in fact, have 3, and I will introduce you to those does in a minute. So she slept next to my bed last night, and every couple of hours she made a little noise. We gave her some milk. She is drinking tremendously well, amazingly well. This morning she started to stand up on her own. She can't walk yet. The one thing that was a bit of a worry last night was when I first brought her into the caravan, because she was early, her umbilical cord had not shrunk and it was bleeding profusely. Sometimes when they're born, their umbilical cord does bleed a bit. It takes a while to dry up. This was scarlet, oxygen-filled blood coming out, and I was at a loss of what to do. I just thought, oh my God, she's fine, she's gonna be okay, but she's gonna bleed out. So I grabbed the nearest thing that there was, and that happened to be a sandwich bag clip. So her umbilical cord is currently snapped together with a sandwich bag clip. It's not ideal, but it's all I had to hand. I'm going to get some cotton later on today and tie that off. Obviously that is a real infection point, so we need to tie that off, dry up as quickly as possible and keep it sprayed with iodine, and possibly give her a dose of antibiotics just in case, because it's still very inflamed. It looks already better today than it did yesterday. But other than that, this is my new little creature in tow. I'm going to be going everywhere with her because she currently needs, because she's tiny and she's premature and she's going to need feeding every few hours. So I may even end up having to take her to meetings. She's so tired. You're so tired, aren't you? And she has baby smell. She smells of milk. You're delightful. Yes. And so we have the new goats. We also have the final 2 ewes that have lambed. So this lamb here is about 3 days old. This one's about a week. They will soon go out with the rest of the sheep, and we are completely done with lambing. But these are the secret goats. And we have Lollipop, Layla, and Lyra. So for those of you that have followed the channel for many years, you'll know that I traditionally have always kept goats, but I have had an absolute nightmare keeping them alive. And it's for numerous reasons. When I first moved here, I mucked up my biosecurity and I accidentally brought in a resistant barber pole worm. goats are super vulnerable to parasites at the best of times, but that barber pole worm, I was using a broad spectrum wormer, wasn't hitting the sides, and by the time I realised it was a barber pole and I needed to get very specific, I'd already lost a couple. I also moved to the farm with the rose-tinted idea of having a very much free range lifestyle for my animals, give them as much acreage as possible, let them go wild, and it was lovely having the goats all out in a field. They would run across. I would normally bring them in at night, but in the daytime they would just have free range of 20-30 acres, and it was a lovely sight. But my goats are not Bagot goats. They are not Old English goats, which are hardier and stockier. They're Anglo-Nubians, and I realised over time they are fragile and they aren't very good at looking after themselves. And so I'd have situations where I would let the goats out and they would spend all day out there, and the nanny goats would go into the ditch. Despite all the forage they had, they would go into the ditch and eat things like nightshade, and then surprisingly get really poorly. And so when my last nanny goat died, I just decided I can't, it's too heartbreaking, I can't deal with the trauma, I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to accept that while I can keep pigs and while I can keep sheep and poultry and guinea pigs and all the rest, I just can't keep goats. However, moving on to site, I really want to be able to jump out of the caravan door and come and milk a goat and have that fresh milk. It's healthier. I'm not having to buy into plastic because I don't have to buy loads of bottles of plastic cartons of milk. And so my friend offered me a Golden Guernsey Anglo-Nubian cross, and that's Lollipop. And then she had 2 other goats which were going to go to the abattoir. And I thought, well, I can't just have Lollipop because she can't just live on her own, because my other goats are 2 wethers who are feisty as hell and beat anything up. And my Billy, Bracken, I didn't want him living permanently with Lollipop, obviously. So in the end, I ended up taking the 3 of them, and I've had them for about 5 and a bit months because we've just got a kid on the ground. I've probably had them 6 months because I didn't put Bracken in immediately. And just what I've realised with my goats is that I can't free range them. I have to have more control over what they're doing and where they're going, because it's a very nice idea to think that the goats could be out and they could be browsing the hedgerow and they could sleep under the stars and do all that lovely magical stuff. But it doesn't work here. They die, and I can't deal with it, and they can't deal with it. So we're much more confined now. So they have, this is their indoor area, and then they have a little door that goes through to an outside paddock, which is fenced. It's all around this local barn. So they're right near my house. I can see if there's anything happening. And so far, touch wood, all's been great. Apart from the premature kid. Not entirely sure what happened there. And this surprise goat birth has distracted me from actually the main thing that I've been focusing on in the past couple of weeks, which is the garden. Because ever since I finished lambing, my mindset has now shifted from baby season to farm season. And so I've been all about the plants and seedlings and watering. So to come home yesterday and find that has been a bit of a spanner in the mental headspace, I suppose. But we're back on track. So though it is only April, the garden season for the market farm with my CSA boxes starting at the very beginning of June. It starts now. Actually, it started a few weeks ago to start seedlings going. So the garden's kind of broken into 2 core main areas. The bit down here is the cut flower garden, and then the bit from here onwards is the market garden. And I haven't done a lot. And I've suddenly gone, yikes, it's April. So this is all being torn up because it gets too hot. Over the past couple of years I've grown courgettes in there, which have been great, but I can't grow anything else in there because although that is a great weed suppressant, it just absorbs the heat, and I can't grow anything leafy in there because it goes straight to seed. And also all the earth underneath is compressed. So that's all being torn up, and I'm going to reuse it. I'm going to reuse it as I extend the garden bed down here, because I've already got this tarp down here. So I'm just going to move that to there, and I'll grow courgettes down there this year, and it means this area can be mulched and will be free of, you know, apart from all of these weeds which have grown through the holes underneath there, is weed free. So once it's mulched down, I can plant. A few weeks ago I put those sugar snap peas out of the pots into the polytunnel, and I have some left over, and I've taken a punt. They're not frost free, but I have just put the first plants out. If they make it, they make it, but I've got nowhere else to put them. So if they do make it, it'll be a happy accident, and if they don't, I just sow more. It's not a major deal. I have the water on today because I don't know about you, but I am having to water a lot. And you can see I put the first bed of spinach out here, and you can see that actually this end has not received enough water because we're wilting. So we need to water this, and then as you come down you start to see actually these plants are a lot happier. So we've got one bed of spinach. I have infilled the broad beans with the second batch that I sowed. So the broad beans look a little bit better, although we only have a third of a bed down to about there. So I'm not going to have as many beans this year as I'd hoped. These two beds are weedy, but I've started to weed out. This one isn't as bad. This one's really bad, and I started to weed it, and then my back went, and I will get on with it another day. We have the kale in here. We have the first lot of chard here. This is fennel. This is onion, which needs to be weeded out because you can see there's a lot of weeds in it. But these are red onions down to green onions and white onions. This is garlic, and this was a little bit of spinach that I had already that I just threw out. And then in the polytunnel, it's too hot. It's already baking, but the problem is I can't put the hot crops in there because it's baking in the day. It's not baking at night. So all the hot crops are still just germinating. By hot crops I mean stuff that needs heat continuously. Aubergines, tomatoes, peppers, chilies. They're all still in the house under the grow lights. I will soon need to start pricking them all out, and at that stage I'm going to have the oh gosh, what do I do stage, because do you put them in the polytunnel and risk it getting too cold at night and then being stunted, or do you confine them into the house to keep them warm and they go leggy? Not entirely sure what I'm going to do at that point. But in the polytunnel I've still got, I've got to water because I've got drooping seedlings. But we have some lettuces, some Mizuna. These are the peas that we put out before that you can see are doing very, very well. This is a load of parsley that's taken off. Our mustard greens, and then over the back there we have a few little seedlings that again desperately need watering. And this is the thing, it's a lot of ball juggling, and that's why I try and lamb earlier, so I don't have so much of an overlap, which then allows you to shift from that mental headspace of right, it's all about the animals and a little bit of sowing just into pots, and then you finish lambing and then it's all about the garden and growing, and I'll just go and check on the sheep. So yeah, and now with that first goat kid arriving, I now remember that I must have put the billy in 5.5 or 6 months ago, because I was a really, really bad farmer at that point and I forgot to jot it down. So I now need to be on the watch for more kids. The flower garden has quite a bit in it, but again, it hasn't really taken off yet because of the warmth. This is the anemone bed, and you can see they're coming through. We've got a couple of the first flowers, but before long they'll they'll be doing things. Obviously at the moment the first stems of the year are super short. We have a bed of snapdragons here. Again, they've been transplanted, but they are just starting to take root and take off a little bit. We have a bed of larkspur, and we have some extra cornflowers down here. And again, weeding. Paths need weeding. I did this side yesterday and you can see the difference. Weeded, bed, weeded, bed. Where is the bed? It's right here in the middle. And I have not caught the guinea pigs. So this, which was all going to be nicely mown by guinea pigs, has not been nicely mown by guinea pigs because guinea pigs are still... Oh, there is one. There is a guinea pig right there. Stay there, bud. Where is he? I can't see him. So this area, which was supposed to be mown by guinea pigs, is not being mown because the two escaping guinea pigs live in here. And you can see this is where they're mowing, which is great, but there's all of this as well. So far, they have not eaten any of my my flowers or my vegetables. So they live here in here. They're coming out and eating the grass here. There is a perennial bed here, and this is all full of achillea, but they're scootling through here and eating grass over there. They're not eating the achillea as yet. That is not to say... Oh, they've really cleaned this bit up. Look how cropped this bit is. So we continue hunting guinea pigs and trying to catch them. My nieces were here today, and they desperately want to take a guinea pig home. And I said, if you can catch the 2 guinea pigs in the garden, you can take them home. Giving their mum, my sister, a knowing wink, because there was no way they were going to catch them. Because I can't even catch them. So yeah, life here is busy, and we've got that darling little addition to the farm, and some more to come.